what I want to do now, um, in chapter 2, they've got a puzzle called code magnets. And they have a bunch of little snippets of code, and you have to figure out what code goes to what class. So, what I want to do is I've created a web page file here where this is a text area where I could type stuff in here, and same thing with this. But I don't really want a text area here. What I want to go in this division, this div area, is a copy of the image of the page so that you can see the snippets alongside of the two different classes and how I use trial and error to come up with the correct code. And then after I play with the code in here, then I actually have to physically do it in Notepad and run it in the command prompt with the Java C and Java commands to see if we get the correct output. So the first thing I'm going to do though is try to set up this web page that I'm going to use to do this video. And what I've got so far is just a start. I called it drumcodemagnets.html, and I started off with an HTML tag and end HTML tag, and each thing that I added went deeper inside of the nest. But since I've already got this much going, I'm just going to read it from top to bottom. There's the beginning HTML, there's the end. And this obviously is a note that says head, and this is a note to me that says body. There's the beginning and ending head tag. There's a title tag, beginning and ending, and it says Head First Java Chapter 2 Drum Code Magnets. There's a style inside the head where I'm styling a text area. I'm styling a div that has an ID of box. I'm styling the body, and I'm styling something called class section. And when you have a class, you use a dot with a name, and when you have an ID, you use pound sign. We have an ID, which is styling only one element, and then we have so that's pound box, and that's right here, div ID equals box, because the box, the one element, is this whole black border that goes all the way around here. That's just one single element on this web page, so we're going to give it an ID and style the name of that ID. But these divs, on the other hand, are going to have the exact same style. They are going to be basically three columns. And I may change this one to be wider than these two, because as it stands right now, these are the exact same width and height, exact same border, exact same padding, exact same font size. Well, actually, I haven't even set a font size. So back to the code, I've got the div. First, the div ID of box, because it's only styling one thing, so it's an ID. And the ID of box is pound box up here, and in the curly braces I've given it text align center, width 97%, height 97%, border thick black solid, padding 5 pixels. Div class equals section is a class, or we're styling it with a class keyword because the same style is going to be applied to 3 different elements. So when it's only one element, you use ID equals. When it's more than one element that gets the same style, you get class equals. So class equals section. And when you're in the style tag, you use dot. The dot means class. Dot section, and I gave each one of those sections this style: width of 25%, border of 25 pixels, green ridge, padding of 5 pixels, and a border radius of 20 pixels, and a float to the left. Okay, the body, I gave it a margin of 0 pixels auto and a padding of 0 pixels, and then the text area that goes inside each of those green borders says resize none, so that the user, when it runs, can't resize that text area, width of 100%, height of 92%, and padding of 5 pixels. So those are the only things that I've stylized so far. But like I said, what I am thinking is I'm going to create another style that's going to be like this section. It's going to be similar to this section, but it's only going to apply to this one right here, because instead of having a text area in here, I'm going to actually put an image of the page that's got the code magnets on here, so I can refer to the image way over here on the right while I kind of figure out the code snippets in this class or in this class. That's the concept I've got going so far. So since I want to play around with the idea of having that last column be a little different, I'm going to use a pound for an ID, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call it last column. Last column. Then you're going to get the curly braces, and I want to put everything that's in the class of section as a style for last column, except I want it to be wider. So instead of 25%, I'm going to see about going for 30% and see if that doesn't break it. I don't think I really seen a difference in that. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't change that. I have to change it to ID last column. So I'm going to copy that name right there, and instead of class section right here, I'm going to paste that, and instead of the pound symbol, I'm going to use the word ID equals, and then I'm going to put the name last column in double quotes. Okay, now I've correctly titled that last div. So now let me run it and see if this div right here actually is bigger. And it did without breaking. Let me see if I can go even bigger. Well, we got 25%. 25% is 50%. I know I'm not going to be able to give it 50% because we do have a border and padding. So let me see if 40% won't break it. If it's too wide, it'll break it, and you'll see what that means. It broke it. Did you see how it just disappeared? Well, it went underneath, and that's not what I want. So I want to go back up here and change this to, let's try maybe 35 might do the trick. That might still be too big, but it actually worked. And not only do I want to change the width, I think I'd also like to change the color. So instead of a 25 pix green ridge, I think I'm going to give it a blue one. Oops. Okay, so it's going to be blue now, which, wow, that looks pretty bright. Almost looks purple. So the only other thing I want to do is I really don't want this to be a text area because I don't want to type in here. I want an image to go in here. So I'm going to pause this because I have to actually download the image first, and then I'm going to put the image in here and see how that fits, and then I'll come back and show you the code for that. Okay, so in this last column, I'm going to take out the text area, and I'm going to paste in an image tag. This is an image tag, and the image that I have is not named Smiley Gift. It's named Drum Magnet JPEG. Okay, because I got the tag right off here from W3 Schools, how to do an image tag. So drum magnet.jpg, and the alt is if anything happens, drum magnet page. No, I should say code magnets. Alt drum code mag. This is a predefined height and width, which I'm sure I'm going to change once I look at how this comes out. I'm probably going to want a height and width of 100% each, but we'll see how it came out. Ooh, that's very small. Of course I don't want it that size. So what if I don't give it any height and width? Let's see what the automatic size will do. Let me see. Oh, it's way too huge. This is, I took this picture of my book page with my cell phone, and obviously it's on a really high pixels. So that's not going to work. So we have to give it a height and a width. Let's see. We determined that the last column had a width of 35%. But the image here should be a percentage of the column itself. So I'm gonna I'm gonna see how this works. Whoops, not $100, 100%, and width 100%. Just something's making me think it's not going to work right, but I'm going to check it anyway. Oh, it went okay. It went okay, except it shouldn't be more than the percent of this black box ID. Same thing with the green ID. So whatever we gave the green ID, height, where's the height? The box is 97%. The text area is 92%. Let's try 92%, the same as the text area. Let's check. Oh no, not height. I mean not width. The height, 92% and 100%. This is just a picture of a book page, so unless it skews it really strange, yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay, so I can look on the right and refer to my page and come over here and try to figure it out. So let's see. We want to create two classes first off. Another thing, I really don't like how little this, look how little that font is. I can't make a video with font that little. So on my text areas, I'm going to go back to my style for text area. I'm going to give myself a font size that makes sense for a video. And let's see what 35 pixel give me. That might be kind of huge, but let's just see. Okay. That's not bad, but I would like it to be a little thicker than that. So I will also give it a font weight. A font weight of bolder. Whoops. Save it, go back, let's take a peek at that. Yeah, I like that much better. That's much easier to see. Okay, now since I'm doing this in a text area and not in Notepad++, you're not going to see any colorization at all. This is just going to be flat out code. So we're going to look for a class. Here we have a class Drum Kit Test Drive. I tend to like to put my main class on the left and my test class to the right of it, so I'm going to wind up doing that. I'm going to put my test one right here, and instead of calling it Drum Kit Test Drive, I'm just going to call it Drum Test, because I don't have a whole lot of space here. Drum Test, okay, and then there's that, and of course, even though you can't see green, this is going to be N-classed drum test, period. Okay, so there is our class. And what's the other class? I don't see another class. A Java program is all scrambled up on the fridge. Can you reconstruct the code snippets to make a working Java program that produces the output listed below? Some of the curly braces fell on the floor and they were too small to pick up, so feel free to add as many of those as you need. Am I not seeing another class? Alright, well we're going to create another class and I'm going to just call it drum. So we're going to have class drum and class drum test, because this is going to be based on what I've done in the previous pages. End class drum. Okay, remember with the test, we're going to want to put the public static void main string args in that one. So let's go down a few. Whoops. Public static void main string args, and an ending curly brace and a note, end method main. Okay, so there's that little piece. Void play snare, that's a method. A method belongs inside the main class. So let's make that play snare and end method play snare. And I'm losing stuff because of all these spaces. Just bring them together. See, the thing of it is, some of these snippets are going to go above, some are going to go below. We're just trying to puzzle this out. So we got void play snare, and inside the curly braces of play snare, we're going to do the system.out.println method. And what is it going to say in double quotes? It's going to say, where'd it go? System.out.println, bang, bang, ba-bang. Bang, bang, ba, bang. Oop. Pause. Okay, I'm back. Let's see where I was. Where was I? System.out.println, bang, bang, ba, bang. Where did that go? Right there. Let's see. Boolean top hat equals true. Boolean snare equals true. Those are attributes that I am going to guess. Oh, here's the other class. Class drum kit test drive, and down here class drum kit. Well, I just used the word drum and not drum kit. I feel better about that. Void play top hat. That's another method. So let's make a little room here and make the other method to go to the class. Void. Where did it go? Down here. Void play top hat. Okay. End method play top hat. And inside that method, it says system.out.println. Inside the parentheses has to be in double quotes. And it's going to say ding, ding, da, ding, 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 da, ding. Okay, so we have two methods for the class drum. What else do we need? D.playSnare. That's using an object with a dot operator. So I know that that's going to be in the drum test. And drum kit D equals new drum kit. That's how we create the object. That's how we properly create it. So, is it... What I can't remember is if everything is in the public static void string args, or if anything is above it. I'm going to put it in the string args and see what happens. So we're going to create the drum, but the name of our main class is drum, not drum kit. So I'm going to say drum D equals new drum, empty parentheses and a semicolon. And the D dot snare equals false. Any D dots are going to be in here after we created it. So let's start up here at the top and go down. And this is not going to be in the right order, but at least we're going to get the snippets all accounted for in what class they belong to. We'll run it, we'll think about it, and we'll move the snippets around. But D.playSnare has to be in this test. It may not belong right where we're putting it, but this is where the snippet belongs. D.play top hat belongs here. Okay. d.snare equals false has to go somewhere. d.snare equals false. Now we need to put a snare. We need to have an attribute snare in this drum. So let's find the attribute about snare. Boolean top hat equals true and Boolean snare equals true. Let's try those as the attributes to this class. Boolean top hat equals true and Boolean snare equals true. In the other one we did, they were both set to false. Okay, so we got this, we got this, we got these two, we got the method play snare, we put the public static void main string args in the test. We don't have the if statement, so let's put the if statement here. If something in a condition is true, then we're going to put something in the curly braces, and that's the end of the if. So if what? If d.snare is equal to true, what's going to happen? d.play snare. d.play snare. We are going to call the play snare. That's that if. Public static, we did that, we did that, we did that, we did all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So we're starting off with a class where we have attributes top hat and snare set to true. And then we have two methods, void play snare, bang bang bang, bang bang ba bang, and play top hat, ding ding da ding. Well, we want our output to say bang bang ba bang first and then ding ding da ding second. So we have to hit play snare first and then play top hat second. We have play snare here. It's going to actually say that. It's actually going to say bang bang ba bang, and then we can turn it off if we want. It won't matter because we played it first. And then we can play top hat, which will give us the ding ding da ding. And then this right here, if snare is equal to true, which it won't be because it was set to false here, then D plays snare, so that won't happen. So we will only get one bang bang ba bang and one ding ding da ding. Because if we didn't set this to false, we would get two play snare statements. Okay, so now that I'm guessing, pretty much, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go to my notepad. No, not my notepad, my notepad++, right here. Now, the first thing that I created was this web page that we're looking at. Now I'm going to create the Java file, save as, again on the desktop. I have to use the same names as these classes, drum.java. So this is going to be drum.java, save, and then I want to create one more. Double click here, go file, save as, desktop. This is called drum test, drum test.java, save. Okay, now I'm going to go to my drum right here, and I'm going to go inside this text that I've created. I'm going to hit Control A to control all, to copy all, and then Control C to cut, and then I'm going to go back to this drum.java and hit Control V to paste. So I've pasted all of that in my drum Java in Notepad. I'm going to do the same thing to my drum test. I'm going to click inside this one, Control A to highlight it all, Control C to copy it, and then as long as I'm in this page, hit the cursor, hit Control V to copy it into there. And I could pull up these empty spaces. Okay, so now that I have these two on the desktop, let me go on ahead and run my command prompt. There it is. I need to CD for change directory for my desktop. I want to Java C my drum test.java. Now if I messed up anything, any typos, I'm going to get some errors. Any typos at all. Oh, I compiled cleanly. Okay, so now let me go on ahead and run it, Java drum test, and let's see what output I get. Bang, bang, ba bang, and ding, ding, da ding. And if we look at our, what they wanted our command prompt to look like, it says bang, bang, ba bang, and ding, ding, da ding. So I was successful in taking these and figuring out what part went to one class, what part went to the other, and I was actually lucky in the order of operations, because if you were to take if you were to take this and maybe put it up here, then you would not have play snare at all. You would not have any bang, bang, ba bang. Whoa. Whoa. So anyhow, let me exit out of this, and I hope this was more helpful than confusing. I'm not sure until I watch this video how crazy it looks bouncing from a HTML web page to the actual code, copying and pasting it. But I thought I wanted to try to come up with a creative way to show how I actually came up with an end result to this particular puzzle in my Java book.